Good evening, folks. Welcome to another edition of Grumpy Old Spurs. And by Christ, have we got some things to be grumpy about this week. I'm hosting. I'll do my best to push this thing along. I am grumpy. That was absolute doggo on Saturday. And I can see that everyone else is feeling the same because we got big numbers in the live chat group tonight. 7 people in there already. Dave, how are you feeling?
7 angry, grumpy
7 angry
people.
men.
7 or women. Yeah, we don't know. We just generally grumpy. Yeah. Here we go. Look at this. We've got. Look at that. We've got a right.
Thank you, Kerry.
Connor's dad's here.
Yeah.
Is he? Hang on, Connor. Is he grumpy? Your old man.
Yes, very.
So delighted to be here. And as you're wearing a hat, I'm wearing my Oasis hat because I'm going this Saturday and I'm very excited about it.
Well, it's nice to have other things to be excited about, isn't it? Because the football's not exciting. Connor, been away on holiday and now you're back. The three of us are back to discuss this. How are you, mate? Where did you watch it? How do you feel?
Yeah, very well, mate. I actually sold my ticket for the Chelsea game, which has turned out to be a pretty brilliant decision. But just because I'm away with work and I had to spend the weekend with the kids. So anyway, yeah, sold it. But did watch the game, and yeah, it was diabolical. But I was quite happy for a change that it was a game I was watching at home rather than traveling to Tottenham, spending time in Tottenham, etc., etc. So yeah,
no such luck.
We'll get into it though, because it was absolutely diabolical, wasn't it?
No such luck for Derek. That is fair play, mate. You've got every right to be grumpy. That's
really good.
Yeah, fair, absolutely fair play. But obviously, mate, you're a Spurs fan, so when it finished, I bet you thought, I expected shit like this to happen following Spurs. But Dave, I know you've been busy doing slides all day, so let's have the first one up. Let's talk about the team that was picked.
Let's go. I've got a new graphic feature. You're going to be excited about this, gents. Here's the team, and you can see here I've got a square block next to Paulinho and Bentancur, because as we know, every week I say I never want to see Paulinho and Bentancur in a double pivot at home. Every week I say it, and every week he plays it. I think the things to call out about this lineup: Bergvall, although he didn't last very long, playing left up top. I think that was the idea of it. I thought that was very odd. And what else we've got? I mean, we've got a lot of injuries, obviously. And our Japanese signing can't start because he's got this plantar foot issue or whatever he's got. So at the end of the day,
apparently.
He's got a Veruca salt. So that is what we've got here. Romero was on the bench. Destiny was on the bench. A fun fact for you that Romero, for the first time in 3 years, managed to walk off the pitch at full time against Chelsea at home. As in, he actually finished the game.
Is that a positive? Is that a positive, Dave, that we can take?
Well, I think that's one positive we can take.
We are squabbling.
What did you guys think of the lineup?
Go on, Connor.
Starting.
Let's have a list. Connor, what did you think of the starting lineup when you've seen that? Did you think they'd line up as Dave's put on there? Did you think it'd be any different?
Well, I mean, it was hard to tell because obviously Bergvall went off so early, didn't he, with the concussion? But yeah, it was an odd starting 11. I don't know whether he was going to play that system or play like a 4-2-2-2 or with Kudus and Muani but anyway, it's slightly odd choice. I mean, what this is bringing home, and Dave's right. We have got some injuries, but then, you know, I think what this is really bringing home is that we didn't sign a left winger, which we continue to moan about from the summer, and the options that we do have out on the left are not good enough, and hence we're now, if it was this system, resorting to potentially playing Bergvall out on the left, who's quite clearly a number 8. Simmons, obviously, we're going to come on to, but he wasn't picked, and so we don't necessarily have a number 10. And then, yeah, I mean, with Romero and Udogie, I get that he didn't. Maybe they weren't fully ready to start. I don't know, but I always think, if you're fit enough for the bench, you'd hope that you're fit enough to start and then bring them off, right? if there. But nevertheless, we're not close enough to know what the injury situation is. So,
well, basically, you prefer them to start, don't you, Connor? Because if they came on and got injured, it's a waste of. You know what I mean? If they start and they can only play so long, then I always think if you're doing that, I always look at it that way. I think that's a better way.
But, no, I agree, and I'm not a medical professional,
no.
So but equally, to me, it feels like you're at greater risk of injury if you're coming off the bench and not quite ready, and you haven't warmed up in the proper way like you would if you were starting again. So, but anyway, look, I think we'll come on to it, I'm sure, but it is good overall to see Romero and Udogie back, because I think what that does allow us to do, if Frank is willing to, is to go to a 3 at the back at some point, which I think most of us would like to see, but we'll come back to that, I'm sure, later.
Yeah, it's the balance as well, isn't it? I mean, when I looked at that team, glad Kolo Muani started. Obviously, Romero, as we've disagreed before, but my point probably is the true bit of quality that Spurs have. Captain, yeah. But Danzo has been doing okay.
Yes.
When we're talking about Romero starting, I probably would have liked to have seen Udogie start, because as we'll come on to Spence, but I'm not keen on this Spence playing at left back, especially when we play the way we do. It's a massive part, I think, of what kills us going forward, and there's plenty that does do that. But yeah, I want to see a left footer for us playing left back the way we play. But I sort of got the impression that it was being looked at, even though we were at home, and I didn't really mind that much when as if we were going to try and set up a little bit like we were playing away, if you get what I mean. Yeah, so it was a bit like, let's see if this. When you sort of pick teams like that, mate, it's got to work, hasn't it, at home? When you're picking different teams like that, you know what I mean? Something that's a bit left field, which it was really, picking those players in those positions. Obviously, it didn't work out like that. But yeah, mainly, mate, what you really wanted to see was whatever 11 blokes were picked, up at them, ready for the game, getting stuck in, putting pressure on Chelsea, trying to beat them, regardless of the 11. As we'll come on to again later, we've seen some truly awful teams lose to Chelsea. Yeah, and we've seen truly awful teams give a lot more than that bunch gave on Saturday night, as we'll discuss over the course of the show. But yeah, the starting 11 was what it was.
Yeah.
More disappointing. I think that just pales into insignificance a bit, mate, because of just how bad it was.
So as we get into this, and to our loyal viewers, all 17 of you, have a think about what was your mind the worst ever performance or result, or both, against Chelsea that you've seen over the years. If you put it in the chat, we'll put together a smorgasbord of shit at some point in the show that we can discuss. Because, so following on from Gibbo's comments, he wants to see an up-for-it team. Chelsea, this is not a great Chelsea team.
No.
They've had a bad result against Sunderland. They don't like the manager. There's disquiet against the ownership. And so we want a team that is going to really show them we mean business. This is going to be the statement performance early in the Frank reign. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you, here's the stats.
Yeah, I'm quite amazed that the possession was that high. But, I mean, Connor, I bet you, and I don't know if you listen to some different pods and watch a bit of YouTube stuff. I know, Connor, you do the occasional other YouTube channel and stuff like that. I'm not on X anymore. Dave's prevalent on X, so I should imagine but when you see, and my son comes up to me and he's like, look at this, Dad. Look at these stats. Look at this. Even not those ones on there. Absolutely shocking, isn't it? I mean, you must have seen the stuff like, which we'll maybe cover a bit later. We've played like 4 through balls this year, haven't we? We've been clocked as
Yeah.
playing 4 through balls. That's the worst. After that, it's Wolves on double that, and Arsenal have done about 38 or something like that. So, there's...
I saw an enjoyable response to it, which was something along the lines of, if I was in the midfield, I wouldn't play the ball through to Richarlison either. But nevertheless, this was, 0.05 XG is absolutely pathetic, isn't it? I mean, and it was, 1-0. When you talk about results flattering us, if we had nicked an equaliser or something at the end of that game, if Vicario could actually put the free kick in the box rather than straight into the keeper's hands, but it would have been one of the biggest robberies ever, right? We deserved to lose 4 or 5-0. We were absolutely outclassed all across the pitch. As you say, there was a point around effort. Every time we got the ball, we gave it back. Set pieces were shit, which is something that we've been good at, but Sanchez, I think, claimed every single one. It was
Sanchez is a crap keeper.
Who's shit, yeah. They were missing Palmer. Caicedo absolutely ran all over our midfield. It was pathetic. He could have been in there on his own, and he would have been fine, even if you took the other 2 off.
Well, he's quality, though. Yeah. I mean, we're just slightly going off. My lad, before that game, whenever Chelsea are on or they're playing, in his mind, Caicedo is one of the best midfielders in the world, he thinks.
Did they have Caicedo at Brighton replacing Basuma, or was he already there at Brighton?
I think he was.
And you are right, but, it gives the rest of the team a little bit of a platform, doesn't he? And Enzo, what did they cost them? 100 million each, Connor?
Yeah.
But I don't think there's many players worth 100 million. I hate to say it. I think Declan Rice was one that has proved to be worth that for Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
I think Caicedo's pretty close, to be fair. But yeah, you're right, Connery. It ran all over our midfield. But the stats, the eye test, everything was horrible, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of the game. So I watched the game at 4:30 on Sunday morning. I'd been out the night before for a birthday dinner of a big old gooner. Today is Melbourne Cup Day. It's another mate of mine's birthday. He's a massive Chelsea fan, so I'm really kind of spending my time socially with our enemies, and what a great time to be doing it. And the comment from my Chelsea fan mate is that's one of the worst Tottenham team performances I have ever seen. Right? I think our best player was Vicario, and we'll get onto his quotes later. And he's been our best player in probably the last 3 games. And if your best player is your keeper, you got a big problem, right? I thought that I thought the way that Chelsea set themselves up and played with that intensity and pressed us and didn't allow us any time on the ball. We had no answer for it. I hate Cucurella, but he was all over Kudos like a rash. And, what's his... Muani, had 16 or 18 touches of the ball. We had nothing. And at half-time, he didn't change it. He didn't actually change it probably... When was the first sub? 10 minutes into the second half? Maybe.
Who was that? He made... As far as I can recall, it was sort of like we were making 2 or 3 subs at a time.
Yeah.
So Romero must have been the first one on.
I think so, yeah. Now, I just think that was an awful performance. I think as I said, Vicario was our player of the match, which is never a good sign. I just think that we allowed ourselves to be bullied. I think we showed a real lack of fight. I hate to single him out again, but Bentancur, he's slow turning, he's sideways passing. The amount of times that we got forward and then it went back again. As you said, that free kick near the end, which Vicario passed to Spence, I think that summed up the whole performance, right?
That was pathetic.
That was pathetic.
It was pathetic. So, we could be at a Nuno/Poch inflection crossroads here. This could go Poch, or this could go Nuno. Now I know it's early, but the goal itself was like a comedy of errors. So I think you had 3 players you could blame on the goal: Xavi, Mickey van der Ven, and Jed Spence.
You blame all 3, don't you? All 3 of them.
Blame all 3. I mean, they should have won 5-0, Chelsea. They should have won 5-0. And the fact of the matter is that the goal that we gave them was a complete cock up at ours. That's like an Ange ball cock up. That was.
And that's a desire to, like, I look at Van der Ven on that, and that's a desire thing to really put your foot through it and thinking, I'm winning this ball. The pass from Xavi is timid, isn't it?
Yeah,
and like the stuff from Spence before, it's just like, I mean, I think what we should do is, Dave, we put in the notes, like, why is it so bad? And there's so many things. So I sort of like my first point I'm going to put across is like I talked about those 2, and then like my thing with Spence, decision making. Tottenham's decision making, and this isn't a new thing. This has been going on for a long time now. These players, no matter who coaches them, is appalling. The decision making. So like decision making is a bit of a basic in football. Passing, first touches, just simple things like that. All that type of thing from Spurs is dreadful and has been for a while. So why is that so bad? Right. So I don't know what you guys think, but it's just like we struggle to do the basics well. And obviously the job tonight is to talk about the Chelsea game and the current plight we've got with the manager. But this is just an ongoing thing, And even when we're away and we're getting results away, and people will be saying, why are we sort of like, some people will be thinking, what's wrong with you? We haven't lost in the Champions League. We're where we are. But you've got to, we're where we are in the league, but you've sort of got to preempt these things, haven't you? Like, it's like playing like this and keep getting results is not sustainable. We've said this before about under other coaches. And this isn't now. It's like that was horrendous. But why is it so bad?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think Van der Ven we was talking about. I think it was his worst ever game in a Tottenham shirt. To be honest, I thought he was absolutely abysmal as well. I know they all were, but I thought he was absolutely dreadful.
And he was rested in the week as well. Don't forget,
he was rested in the week. Yeah. And look, I think Danso is a good sub, but a lot of people have got overinflated opinions of Danso. I think he's a good sub. I think he's a good third choice.
He's a good squad player, mate.
He's a squad player. I think I've made this point several times about Romero. And he's got his flaws and he can switch off at times. But I think it's no coincidence that we've looked even worse going forward when Romero's been out injured, because Romero is the only person in the team who's able to pass forward. Porro's been off the boil in terms of passing in recent games as well. Against Monaco, he's crossing and passing against Monaco was a disgrace, to be honest. But yeah, I think you miss that when Romero doesn't play.
He's levels above Connor.
About how much Chelsea pressed us. You missed his passing ability in that, and to be fair to Romero, and look, I mean, people say better defender. I think sometimes people mistake like being able to defend your box and head the ball out as being a better defender. Romero is, in my opinion, streets ahead of Danso as a defender as well.
He's streets ahead of any of our defenders.
Yeah. He can't deny he's the best defender at the club.
Yeah. So look, I think, but I in terms of that overall comment around the away games, I think away games in the Premier League are difficult, and performances matter a little bit less in away games anyway. If you get a win, you get a win away from home, and every game is going to be difficult away from home. At home, though, I feel that's where performances do matter a bit more. People pay a lot of money; they want to be entertained. But we are in a rut, right? We are in an absolute rut at home. This is not just a Frank issue, but it's been particularly bad again this season. Last season I was going to that stadium every other week, completely despondent, because of how bad we were. I think I read a stat, that's been doing the rounds that we've lost, I think, almost as many games as Arsenal, at our new stadiums, and we moved into it 13 years later. So that just shows you how bad the home form has been
Yeah.
since that stadium. And the problem is once
Yeah.
that rut starts, it continues. And I sort of bring a parallel to Everton at Goodison Park, where it was almost this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy, a prophecy whereby the
Yeah.
fans boo because the football shit because the fans are boo, and it just carries on and on and on, and that seems where we are with the home stadium at the minute and the home form. It's one, and you almost need a big result to get you out of that rut now, but the fans are only going to be on board, I think, if we start winning. It's a vicious cycle.
I mean that leads
winning's a
us to
habit,
this.
so is losing, Dave, isn't it? I always say that, and we're in a habit. Our habit at home is losing football matches, and partly because we allowed that to happen last season, and we were, oh yeah, it doesn't matter because we got bigger fish to fry. It does matter. Winning football matches and getting yourself, in that mindset does matter. And those chickens are coming home to roost now. I know we weren't before that, when we weren't like, we lost to West Ham at home, didn't we? The first game we ever lost there, and some other dodgy results, but we were still good at times at home. We just decided to shit the bed in every Premier League game at one point last year, and that is coming home to roost now because we are fucking awful at home. And
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
just habit.
I don't think you can blame everything on Ange and his decision to prioritise Europa, because
I'm not here saying about Ange. I'm just saying that is a fact, Dave. That we just have made it. We have made it habit, and it's what we do at home. We lose games.
Yeah, but we've been losing. Okay, we're losing games before Ange and after Ange at home, right? Nuno, Jose, in everyone, we've lost games at home. It's not been the fortress. Okay, now obviously you guys go more often to the new stadium than me. I mean, I've been there 3 or 4 times, right? So I just want to contextualize a few things here. The old White Hart Lane, when it rocked, right? But you look at that stadium, you had the Shelf, which is the biggest size standing area. You had the Park Lane, which did the singing, and they always instigated the singing. The West Stand never sang, and the Paxton never really sang either. All right, I've been there on great European nights, amazing, absolutely rocking. I've also been there where the performances have been absolutely shite, and the players are getting booed, abused, the lot. That's what happens. Look, even last week in the Carabao Cup, I'm pretty sure that Anfield, some sections of the fan base were booing Slot, weren't they? After the Palace game. Yeah, they've just won the bloody league, right? So I think it's a cyclical thing because, the stadium, and I wasn't there, there's a pyrotechnic display. They decided to not have any volume and singing section in the concourse, and 5 minutes before they didn't have anything for 5 minutes before the kickoff. So the build up in the atmosphere, and apparently the atmosphere that built up was good. But as the game went on, I'm not blaming Bentancur and Paulinho for the atmosphere, but if you show such a lack of attacking intent and your home games, then it's not going to feed. The crowd aren't going to feed on that, and you have to feed off each other. That's what going to a sports stadium and a football match has been like that in time immemorial. That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
that's how it works.
I think that's true. Look, I think you're right as well. People have a lot of false nostalgia about the old stadium, right? And there were times when that was great. There were times when that was shit as well. And similarly, I mean, at the new stadium, I remember when we beat Arsenal under Conte 3-0,
rocking
to get in basically when we were going for the Champions League. Gary Neville said he hadn't seen an atmosphere in the country like it for years, right? And similarly, there were Champions League knockout there. That's made the same point. He was there with me, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was absolutely bad. The stadium was moving, right? It was that.
Hello.
Yeah, I think people obviously there's times when the crowd need the players to lift them, isn't there? And then it's like a bit of give and take, and there's got to be a time where the crowd sometimes need to lift the players. And I think the crowd tried to lift the players on Saturday, didn't they, Dave? And it didn't work in the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Connor, you were saying I think you
Yeah,
froze
yeah.
a bit there.
I was just saying, I do think Gibbo's got a point, because I do think they're around last season though, because I think people have become now accustomed as fans to going every other week and watching the team lose at home. So what that means is, as soon as we don't start a game ripping it up, which obviously isn't happening at the moment because we're playing no attacking football at home, there is this automatic boo, boo, and I mean, I personally, and look, everyone can do what they like because they pay their money to go to the stadium. But I personally, when I go, I've never really seen the point in booing at half time or booing certain players, because I just don't get how that helps, right? But obviously it's your prerogative. You paid a lot of money, and as someone's made the point in the chat, the prices of the tickets probably have something to do with the atmosphere as well, because regardless of what your view is, and this shouldn't be the view necessarily, but when you pay the prices that we do pay at Tottenham, there is a level of expectation as well, isn't there? You're paying £100 in some instances, or I think the Irish chap earlier saying he paid €320 for his ticket, and he goes to watch that shit.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, Connor, don't they? People, I totally get where you're saying, and some people probably, you're right, but some people have probably just watched it and it was that bad. What else? It's just like, fucking boo, that is awful. That's what people just do, don't they? I know, like, I mean, I've never stood there and gone boo, boo, but you can sort of understand why there's like whistles and stuff at the end, can't you? And like moans and groans.
I mean, look, if you, but okay, so look at the first.
But why is it so bad? This is what.
Well, hang on, but going back a step, right? Just if you remember when we beat City opening day, Nuno's first game at home, right?
Yeah.
Like Kane was on strike, right? And that was the first game after lockdown in the UK.
That was a good
the first time so you can see there, and I'm no psychologist, the therapeutic, cathartic experience of everyone being back in a communal setting, everyone cheering on the team because everyone been locked up for a year and all the rest of it, and everyone having that communal day out. And for the positive, because we got a good result, battling performance, and we were singing to Harry Kane, who was on strike, right? So that's kind of your ideal situation. You're never going to get that game. You're not going to get people locked up for a year and then coming back to a communal space, right? And then you've got this. I just want to touch on this thing here, right, with Van der Ven and Spence. So apparently Van der Ven and Spence have been in to see the manager. They've apologised, right? And you can't have it both ways, right? You can't take 215,000 people on the streets of Tottenham. They're all pissed. Everyone's at one, celebrating together. It's the way it should be, and that's how we celebrate our victories, right? But to just turn on your heels and walk down a tunnel, and your coach has asked you to acknowledge the fans, and they ignore him and show such a blatant disrespect. Now, I know I'm sounding like a grumpy old bastard that I am.
That's your job.
I would have fined them 2 weeks' wages, right? I'd have fined them 2 weeks' wages. I'd have kept it in-house. I'd have said, I'm fining you. I'd accept your apology. This is what I'm going to say in public, that it's all fine. I'm fining you 2 weeks' wages. Don't ever do that again. You do that again, you'll be on the bench, right? Because I just think if you allow a public display of undermining of the leader, the manager, in the workplace or anything like that, you'd be out on your ear, right? So I thought that was, I think Jed Spence, right, is an interesting character. And I'm a big believer that you have to have different individuals as part of a team. That's what you make your team humming and successful. But I think that the interview that he did with Rio Ferdinand last year was misguided. I think that thing he did on social media with Johnson in some kind of dog collar and all that business was just stupid, right? And I think since he's been playing for England, I think there's been a bit of a lackadaisical attitude. He's not playing well, and I'd drop him. If we get Destiny back, I'd drop him. And as Connor said, Van der Ven, that was one of his worst other performances he did. Do you remember Newcastle away We got
Yeah.
beat.
Oh,
up
yeah,
there.
yeah,
He was shot. So today, the Chelsea game was his worst performance, and he's part of the leadership group, mate. So if you're going to be the leadership group and wear the armband, then you show some respect for the coach. That's what I feel about it.
I agree with you. I don't know what you think. I don't know if I'd have fined him 2 weeks' wages, but I'd have made him. I would have, at some point, I'd have them saying something like why they did it, maybe, or a bit of an explanation. I just don't get. It's not a massive, but it's just not needed, is it? And it's just like Alan Shearer was sticking up from saying they just want to get down the tunnel or whatever. Fucking play better.
I mean,
just play
yeah,
better.
I think what it comes back to, like, I think Dave's right? If you're going to take the praise and you're going to walk around the pitch and, Basuma gets his kid out when we beat Sheffield United and we walk around the pitch and we, act like we're, then you got to take the rough with the smooth a little bit for sure. I mean, there is a point that it's all a bit performative anyway, though, isn't it? Clapping the fans when you played absolute shit, who cares, right? But I think the difference and the point is that if they just walked down the tunnel and Frank hadn't walked past them and they did that, probably wouldn't care because I go, oh, do you know what? If you're clapping the fans, it doesn't really matter anyway. You played shit, get yourself home, whatever. But it was the fact that they, as Dave raised, they publicly undermined Frank in that instance where Frank goes to him, go and clap the fans, and they both walk past him like a couple of moody little teenagers. You both played absolute shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you played hundreds, you paid whatever they're both paid every week, and the people in the crowd pay your wages. So for me, I thought it was poor the way down to Mike Frank. I'm less bothered about the fact they didn't clap the fans. It was the two together for me that bothers me.
Yeah, the situation, and it's a bad look, isn't it, Connor? The whole, all the aesthetics.
But anyway, look, I think we all move on from it. They both apologised. Apparently, we don't know whether I'm sure Frank has probably had a stronger word internally that we don't hear about in public, and let's move on. But it doesn't look great after the performance was put in.
But obviously, sorry, Dave. I was just saying we're looking at why we're playing bad, but we maybe to talk about individuals, and we have been talking about Jed Spence. I think Jed Spence is a good player, one-on-one, fantastic. But left back. I know people saying, oh, he's better at left back than he is at right back. Well, he might be able to lock down players or whatever, still just as good there. But going forward where we are struggling, he fucking hinders that terribly. He just progressing the ball and his distribution and that from there is woeful. That is something that we need a left-sider over there. And just like, cause obviously we were trying to talk, we've done that, but we were talking about why are we so bad? I mean, like I've said this before, I think some of our individuals aren't as good as we think they are. I think I think the real quality in the team is Romero, top quality. Van der Ven's good. Paulina is quality. That is a quality signing. He is brilliant in his position, at what he's there for.
We're going to burn him out.
And well, we might do, but I just think that's what he does. I think I don't think we'll burn him out. I think he just gets around and does what he does in that area. And now, obviously, I was chastised for saying that I think Simons is overhyped, massively overhyped. And the other one, and like Connor said about this in the group, I'm not saying Kudus isn't a good player, but I think because our wide men and our other forwards aren't very good or haven't performed as good, we are looking for too much from him now. And he's probably trying to do a bit too much as well. He's a good player.
Marked by two men as well, wasn't
he? He is a good player, but I don't think he's as good as we want him to be or as he is. He's like, I don't want people to say I'm thinking he's no good. I do think he is, but I don't think he's as good as I mean, the rest of them, mate. The fucking rest of them. That left side is just like a void. We've played like what we played there, 7, 8, 9 different players. we started a home game against Chelsea, and people like Johnson and that who we've paid lots of money for, Tau, Odebear can't even get a game. Just shocking. Just a real ragtag bunch of nothing. But like Kudus, obviously we do carry him at the front, but the Siemens thing, mate, I don't think he's all that. And he don't even look confident. He don't look like... I think when they were having a huddle in, was it the start of the second half? He was just looking off into space. Mate, that's the type of bloke come the end of the season who will want to move back to Germany or go to Holland. He's got that written all over him.
Oh, well, if we're going to follow that same logic, Gibbo, then Son would have left after his first season at Tottenham. Darren Anderton would have gone back to Portsmouth on loan. Chrissy Waddle would have gone back to Newcastle. I do think, with the greatest of respect, that you tend to write off players very, very quickly.
He's not in Son's league, mate. He'll never be in Son's league.
But Son took a fucking year to become what he was, right? His first season was a disaster. He went and saw Poch at the end of the season and said, I want to go. And Poch said, no, stay. Right? Anderson, Waddle. Modric was played and under Ramos as the defensive shielding midfield player. Remember Stoke away?
Yeah,
right?
But Modric was playing for Croatia, a good Croatian team. He was a mainstay in that team. This guy, Siemens, is massively... You can't even put Siemens and Modric in the same breath, mate.
I'm not. I'm contextualizing the fact that you do tend to write off the players, new players, pretty quickly.
Which ones have I always been wrong about?
Your judges, gavel, mullet, whatever the fucking word is.
Which ones have I been wrong
comes
about?
down, and that's it for Siemens. Let's look at Siemens for a minute, all right? Okay, and to support you, one, he's surprisingly very one-footed, a la Lamella, right?
Yeah.
Two, in the last few games where I think he's having confidence issues, his decision-making on the ball and his final pass has been poor, right?
Yeah.
Three, so that's two things. One, and then the third thing, he's getting knocked off the ball. He's getting knocked off the ball. He's needing more starts. He needs more time on the ball, which he's used to in the Bundesliga, and he's got to adapt to that in the Premier League, right? Now, let's not forget, he was the third choice. Eze, Morgan Gibbs White. He was the third choice. Bit of desperation when we got him in. We needed someone, particularly after Maddison was going to get injured. But if I go back, and I've said this before, Morgan Gibbs White, if we'd have bought him, this was before the Maddison injury. So if you'd have had Maddison and Morgan Gibbs White rotating, or Xavi Siemens rotating, he's playing more than he probably thought he was going to play, or with a fully fit and well-balanced rounded squad, he'd have been playing every 1 to 2 games and easing him in more. But him, Kudos, Paulinho, every game, right? Because we have got a very unbalanced squad. We've got more number 8s than an after 8 box, right? We've just loads of them. And I even see on Twitter this week someone posting up about Basuma. Oh, we need Basuma back in. Don't, right? So I'm prepared to give Xavi Siemens time, as I did with Modric, as I did with Anderton, as I did with Waddle. And yeah, I was moaning about them. And as I did with Brennan Johnson, I said, you've got to give the geezer time. I never want to see Brendan Johnson in a Spurs shirt again. I never want to see Richarlison in a Spurs shirt again. So I appreciate that you're sitting there going, well, I was right, wasn't I? But we're in this process at the moment now where I think we need to give him more time. On the left-hand side, and I'll shut up in a minute, if you remember Leeds away, and Odegaard had probably one of his best games. It wasn't a brilliant game, but he had one of his best games because he had a left footer running outside him. His name's Destiny Doggy. So I 100% agree with you, Gibbo, about Spence. We need Destiny fit, because if we got no left-footed, we got no left-sided attacker, because we didn't buy anyone. We need that left-footed left back on the left-hand side, and that 100%. Might help your Tells. That might help your Odegaards. It might even help your Xavis. Not having Spence cutting inside the left side is a shocker. I'll shut up now.
I agree. I agree.
Connor, you can come on. We got no left wingers. I don't think we've got any real good left wingers. let's play wing backs.
Yeah. Look, I think there's definitely a few points. I think with Spence, I think you're spot on. I think Spence should only be playing left back when you're playing the likes of, say, Arsenal away, and you want someone to mark Saka at the game. Say, and you're going to be under the cosh. You're not really worried about how well you're playing going forward. I think it completely upsets the balance, and it's exacerbated by the fact that we don't have a left winger, right? So it's a double whammy. So for me, the games I'll be playing Spence in is either as rotation or in those types of games where you want him to mark a right winger out of the game. Or if you played three at the back, I think there's an argument to say you could play Spence as a right centre back. Right? Because he's about
I
six.
agree.
He's about 6'1".
He was a
He's
centre back.
Brilliant 1v1 defender. He's pacey. If you put Van der Ven and Spence on either side of Romero, you could see how that could work as a free as at the back. And my worry with Danso in a free at the back, and we saw this against PSG, and to be fair, it's PSG, but Barcola a few times absolutely murdered him down that bit in terms of pace because he didn't quite have the pace to get out. So, for me that could potentially work. I think with Simmons, he quite clearly has been poor so far. I think he's had maybe a game and a half that he's done all right. In the Brighton game when he came on, thought he was good, and he was good in the Leeds game. Other than that, he's not really done anything.
Yeah.
I think he's quite clearly acclimatizing to the league. Look, I'm not making excuses for him because he's been poor, but the mitigating factors are one, time, and two, I don't think he is in a football team that particularly suits the way he plays either, where he wants. I read a stat today that he's been passed the ball in the 10 position in the 15th percentile or something, which basically means that other 10s have been passed the ball 4 times as much as him on average in each game. So it don't particularly help that we can't progress the ball through the middle whatsoever, and his best position is going to be in those pockets in the 10. Now, that being said, if it was Maddison would probably be dropping deep and doing it himself, and I do think we miss Maddison massively in terms of that middle of the pitch. So back to your point on wing backs, though. On your point on wing backs, because we're not progressing the ball through the middle of the pitch anyway, and with our tactic at the moment on the ball seems to be give the ball to Porro. Porro plays the ball up the line to Kudus and see what Kudus can do with 3 men on him. We might as well go to wing backs anyway, right? Because we're not.
Yeah.
And therefore, you've got Porro and Udogie, who are both good natural wing backs anyway. You have to play less. We don't have to play a left winger then, because we haven't got one. And you play, say, Kudus and Simmons as sort of inverted wingers behind Muani in the same way that Palace did.
Yeah.
Right?
So
that seems the logical thing to do.
That's good. I'm up for that.
And this is where I like the appointment of Thomas Frank. I thought we would play 3 at the back more because he did that at Brentford a lot. The best we've played this season, or one of the best we've played, was when we played 3 at the back against PSG. But it has been absolutely woeful, and nobody here is saying Frank out, but it is getting to the point where he is going to have to do something. He's going to have, his job is to sort these things out. No, I can't see how it's going to work by just doing what we're doing now. Something is going to have to change, and that is on him.
Well, let's okay. I think we've got to this is the crucial point of the conversation, right? Because, and I said this before, because we're almost at the junction, the inflection point in the road. The left-hand fork is Nuno, the right-hand fork is Pochettino, right? You all know the Pochettino story, the Harry Kane deflected free kick, Villa away. Nuno, the El Sacico with Solskjaer. Out the door he goes. Yeah. I'm sure Connor was there as well. Yeah. So we're nearly at that. I mean, look, a couple of things. One is Vinay had he was. I don't know if he was there when Arteta started.
He was.
He was okay. So Vinay stuck with Arteta during some really bad times and backed him when he got rid of Ozil and Aubameyang and all, wrote off all that tons of money, right?
Yeah.
He stuck with him, and look where they are now. They are going to win the Premier League. Sorry.
100%.
Okay. Right. Now, where we are now is there are people calling for Frank to go. There are people saying we should never have got him in the first place. But I'm pretty sure that Glasner and the bloke at Bournemouth, whose name I can never remember to pronounce, turned us down because they didn't want to work with Levy. Okay? So we're at this point now where Frank has got to realise that maybe the Chelsea at home was that Stoke City at home game that Poch had. And there was a punch up in the dressing room after, apparently, between the old guard. Yeah.
Glenn Wheeler scored for them, didn't he?
Yeah. So we're now at this point where he has got to do something where, you know, the issue, the stadium, if he continues to carry on like this at home, they won't. The support won't stand for it. They will not stand for it, and that's fair enough. The amount of money that you pay for it, and the cost of the travel, and you continue to lose at home, they'll put a lot that he'll go.
The give him time thing won't work, Dave.
It will not work, and
no,
he may have had that at Brentford. It will not wash here, so he needs to change it up. Now, whether he used the Champions League game tomorrow as a little bit of a training session to play that system and see how it goes is something that you can look at. Now, I know that we ain't got a lot of players at the moment, but we are potentially arriving at the point where I think we will win. We should beat the Danish team, and they're fourth in the Danish league. Not all that, right? We should beat them and get some goals in the back of the net, get some goals in Moani. And then on the weekend with Man United, who are not that great a team still, if he loses that again on Saturday night, that's toxic.
Yeah.
Saturday lunchtime, sorry.
Can I just throw some mitigation in there? Oh, no, Con. I think Con will agree with me on this. I know Kolo Muan has just started to start games. Up until now, centre forward position for us as well. I know we've been bemoaning left wing. Centre forward. Oh, my God. My goodness. Yeah. I mean, we've said all that, but how bad? I mean, I know the play's got to be set up to a forward, and you've got to play balls into them. But Jesus, what? Just a black hole and nothingness up there, isn't it? But that's why I think you've got to play two up there.
Yeah, I mean, look on the Frank out conversation. I mean, to be honest, I think. I mean, Dave, you know, Michael, we've had a lot of discussions on this. I think my view, to be honest, if anyone is genuinely saying Frank out, they have their own agenda because they didn't want him to be appointed in the first place, or they are being completely disingenuous with the way the football works. Right? I think it's ridiculous to suggest he should be sacked right now. I think then needs to be some expectation setting as well, right? Given, let's not forget, we did finish 17th in the league last year. We are now still above all of our European rivals. You know, key ones for where everyone anticipates. Look, I mean, West Ham just beat Newcastle 3-1. Aston Villa are still below us, you know, so these and this is what's going to happen this year in the Premier League a little bit, is that other than Arsenal, teams are taking points off of everyone, right? So there is going to be this sort of inconsistency anyway, and we are not a top four team right now. We are, because of years of massive mismanagement, we are miles away. And everyone said this before the season, so we can't suddenly, reinvent that. Everyone knew that. The same people that say the likes of Odebert, Tell, Richarlison, Johnson are shit, and now suddenly expecting us to play free-flowing attacking football. Now, that being said, that doesn't completely excuse how bad we've been at home, because I think even with those players, we should 0.05 XG is not good enough, right? No one's saying that. No. And I think we want him to change it up, but managers need time, whoever they are. Iriola didn't win, I don't think, for his first 10 games at Bournemouth, and everyone was going, how they hired this clown and got rid of Gary O'Neill. So, you know, every manager needs time. But that being said, I think he does need to start to show a little bit more, regardless of the fact that players clearly need improvement. So that so that the ownership, our new owners, Lewis family,
New
know that
era.
they've got the right man to continue to back, right, in those subsequent windows. But for me, yeah, I mean, Frank out for when I sort of summarise what I think Frank has done, I think what he's done well is the out of possession stuff generally, and I think defensively we're a lot more solid generally, and I think set pieces is obviously maximised. Now it's the next bit. For me, I was also a fan, as you know, of the Frank appointment because I thought he would be able to translate to a bigger club because of the work that he's done on attacking profiles in the past, and he's worked with a lot of attackers and improved. We haven't seen that yet, but that being said, he's been in the job 5 minutes, and you've got to remember this is our first year as well without Son and Kane, right? And all of that attack is new in terms of playing with each other regularly. So it is going to take a little bit of time, but we need to see more than we're seeing for sure.
I think regarding that, sorry, Dave, I totally agree with you, mate. I want Frank to work. I like Thomas Frank. I like the guy when I hear him interviewed, and I liked what he did at Brentford. But like, it is going to get to a point. I know, like Connor, you say he needs time. Totally agree, mate. But that will not be afforded if within, and I think we're getting to the point now where we need to see something happening to make a change. Because I'm telling you now, like West Ham, I watched a bit of West Ham yesterday, and they looked like they had more clue when they decided to attack than I've seen Spurs really when they've attacked a lot this season. Now he will set them up like he did at Nottingham Forest. He will get them, and that will be sort of like the blueprint, and that's what they will become. Very soon, we need to see what Frank's blueprint is going to be and what we are going to become and how we're sort of, and the little tinkering bits to get it better in what we do. We are going to need to see that soon. At the very least, you're going to need to be going, right, well, we can see that. That's working. This is how we're going to play. Obviously, we're a bit short in that area. We're going to need to improve that. And we need to do this, maybe get a player in here and maybe make some alterations here. But this looks like what we're going to do. And we're going to be able to switch between that and this or whatever. Because that's just like I said, that's, you know, what Nuno's going to do there. We need to start seeing that pretty soon, because if you're nicking results and you can see that and you're not playing great, you can get away with it. But if you're playing shit and not getting results and you can't really see where you're going, that it just won't last. And I'm not saying Frank out. I don't think any of us on here are saying Frank out. I think we all want to see him. I think we all want to see it work. But yeah, I think we're getting to the point now, kind of where we are going to need to see something.
I think there's a couple of things just to pick up on both your points. So my expectation of when Frank came in was that he was someone who, in-game management and adapting to tactics during the game is good. Obviously better than Ange, not hard. And I have been a bit surprised on the downside by the in-game management. So, for example, Newcastle in the week, we went 2-0 down in the cup game. And it took him another 10 to 15 minutes until he brought any subs on. Yeah. And it was clear that at half time against Chelsea, we was thinking the place out, and he didn't make any changes then either. And it seems to be that his default setting in the kind of pyramid of substitutes, unless, of course, Romero, you bring him back on or whatever because he's been injured, is he goes to Johnson and he goes to Richarlison every time. And I think that's pissing off some of the players, right? You know, your likes of Tell, I think that's pissing off some of the players.
Fancy falling back on that though. How desperate must you be to have to fall back on fucking Johnson and Richarlison?
I know that, but that's what I'm saying.
Richarlison just run. He's like a fuckwit. Just runs around a complete fuckwit.
I know that. But what I'm saying to you is that
signing.
I know, but what I'm saying here is that I've been surprised by some of the in-game management and lack of proactivity. I thought he'd be doing more than he has been doing. I think one of the other things I was sold on the fact is that he has a track record of improving players. Yeah. We've seen it. Loads and loads of players has improved. And naively, I thought, well, he's going to hopefully would improve Johnson, Osterberg, Tell, and others. And either they are just so not fit for purpose that no miracle worker is going to improve them, or, as is the gripe against him, is that he's always had the week to prepare his team. Oh, he doesn't have that here. Yeah, I know, but that's what
I'm not convinced on that. But yeah, I know. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So really, and we're drawing to near the end of the show. I think the question is really, at what point? None of us are frank out as we sit here now, and I'm not frank out. And I think those people saying frank out, I think it's ridiculous. And Connor summed it up really well. But what would it take? What would the situation be that we actually turn around and go, actually, it's not working. We've got to get rid. Would you just, is it the whole season?
Yeah,
give them the whole season?
For me, I find it, I don't know. Look, I've been scarred by the fact that, we've chopped and changed managers under this ownership for how many, I don't even know what the number is now, but we're approaching 20, aren't we? If we got rid of Frank, by the time they give Matty Wells bring Ange back for 8 games, sack him, give Matty Wells the job, whatever. I'm sick of this chopping and changing of managers, and unfortunately, as you said earlier, that lot up the road are a case in point of what happens when you stick by a manager, because our fan base and theirs were at the time would have called for Arteta out several times. And you still had Arsenal fans calling Arteta out, even with them finishing second, right? Because he didn't get over the line. So at some point, you've got to give something a proper go, for me. And I think off the back of last season as well, we were all expecting a difficult year anyway, right? But he's had one window. And if you look at who we signed in that window, if you actually break it down, and it was a good window in terms of the quality of players, but you've had Muani has hardly played because he wasn't fit. Simmons, as we just all discussed, is nowhere near hit the ground running. So that's 2 gone in terms of having any impact whatsoever. Paulino and Kudus have been good. At the same time, you've lost Maddison, who, in my view, is one of the best technical players in the squad. No Kulusevski. You lost Son, who was on the down, but he still contributed more on the left in terms of goals than anything we've got. So it's going to take time. So for me, I think he deserves the season. I think he deserves the season, and then you reassess, because what's the point in sacking someone midway through a season anyway? Because then that new manager, you're not giving the best chance of success anyway. So I think he deserves the season regardless. And, whether he gets a second season depends on what the trajectory is at the end of that first season for me.
I think he'll get the season, because I don't think it will league positions will end up anywhere near as bad as Ange. But being realistic, if he fails to beat Copenhagen or Man United, or loses to both of them and loses poorly, what have we got then? Fulham at home. We got Fulham, Arsenal, and PSG, 3 games.
Yeah.
And if we're playing like we are now, I mean, I can't. The way we've been playing at home, I can't see us beating Man United, and I can't see us beating Fulham. I don't think we'll beat Arsenal away. I don't think we'll beat PSG. So I think whatever happens, he needs to get off to a flyer tomorrow against Copenhagen. I think if he doesn't win any of those 5, I'm not saying sack him, but he will be under severe pressure then. Busy Christmas period, tough games, confidence even lower, home fans baying for blood, or disillusioned in home games. It's going to be tough then. I think he needs to win. Definitely win tomorrow. And at the very least, performance much better against Man United.
So
Dave,
I think...
what your thoughts?
Well, this is although this may have been said in jest, I can see a scenario with our new owners wishing to show their intent and curry favour of getting Poch back after the World Cup is over, and if we qualify for Europe and we had the money and he wanted to do it, bring Kane back. I can just see a scenario of the return of Poch and Kane, which I don't want in both circumstances, right?
You wouldn't have Kane back?
No, I would not.
Oh, Dave.
Going back never works. It never works. It never works. It
does compared to Richarlison, to be fair.
Dave, but you're benchmark. Okay. So have we? Okay, Kane, generational talent, goal scorer. If I was him and he wanted to come, if he wants to come back to the Premier League and win a title or win a trophy in the Premier League, he's best off going to Liverpool.
Yes, I mean,
Newcastle,
never go back to your ex. I mean, never go back to your ex unless your ex is Margot Robbie, right? And in this circumstance, maybe Harry Kane is Margot Robbie. So I think
he ain't coming back.
I think Kane will end up at Barcelona as well, to Tim's point.
Yeah, so I hope he does go to Barcelona because I hope he gets that elite club like the Lewandowski replacement. And I wish him well, and I hope he gets that, right? But the Poch thing is just, as I said, I know Poch is done. I don't want him back either. Just don't. It's the sentimentality. It's amazing, really. Some people in the fan base want Frank out now.
Well, we want Frank to work. Ultimately,
no. Some people want Frank gone and then get Poch and Kane back. It's ludicrous, ludicrous.
But unfortunately, that's the world we live in with football now, isn't it? You get that you are exposed to so many more opinions of other people through whatever platform. You just are,
YouTubers,
and that's just the way it is. But yeah, I mean, I love Pochettino. That was great. I never thought we'd see stuff like that, but
that was then. No. This is now.
But you're right. I can see if the people at the top are only thinking about Korean favour, then that's what they will do. I don't want it to be at that point. I want Frank to sort it out. I want him to get us playing. And
I agree. I want him to be.
Just a little bit. I am concerned. At the moment.
Well, I'm hoping Vinay is a serious football person because he is Levy's successor. He is now running the show. And all joking aside about our new owners, I think we've agreed that we're giving them 2 to 3 transfer windows to see what they're about. I mean, I brought Paratici back, which I'm mayor about. And we'll see what happens, really. I think that's all we got time for. Oh, Connor, you're going to say something? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, you raised the point earlier. I do think Vinay hopefully will show more patience than our fans.
Levy.
Sometimes, and Levy. Because I think sometimes, look, we are emotional as well. 100%. We're emotionally involved in these things, aren't we? Obviously. And so, I think the point is sometimes you have to remove yourself from that. But I don't think any of us are disagreeing. We need to see more green shoots to hang on to. At home in particular, but
fill the void.
Any talk of getting rid of the manager, who actually isn't even doing that bad, by the way, and started poorly at both Brentford and Bromby, is ridiculous for me. But anyway,
Ferg,
upgrade some playing staff in January. Let's hope. My hope is, obviously, we can sort it out, start playing better, actually get some decent signings in to complement the team we've got in January. And, like, you're right, Connor, like, European football is our aim this year. You start getting around 3rd or 4th, we all get a little bit giddy, but I think realistically, European football
Europa.
is a good Europa. Well, like we can't get into it now, Dave, because we're ending the show. But any type of European football after how bad we were in the league, I'm taking. So, but are we happy with that, lads? Have we got what we needed to get off our chest?
I think so.
I think so.
Let's hope we win tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you're going, aren't you, Connor? So
I am.
And me and Dave, we watching. Well, my lad's got a football match tomorrow, so I probably won't be watching it.
I'll be watching.
So I'll just send you laughing faces if we go 1-0 down or whatever, Dave. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for all your comments. Good live numbers tonight. Reasons to be cheerful. That's reasons to be cheerful, Dave. 39, 40 people watching live. We like that, don't we?
As opposed to reasons to be fearful.
Oh, God, we've hammered that nail, mate. Reasons to be fearful. And I suppose we got to say it before we go, lads. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.